So welcome students, again you are heartily welcome in my YouTube channel for history optional. So today we will discuss about the Neolithic culture and the Neolithic phase. So in earlier lectures we dealt about the social cultures and art forms regarding the Paleolithic and Mesolithic period. Here today we are dealing with the Neolithic phase. So talking about the chronology, so Neolithic phase starts from 8000 BC to 4000 BC. Okay, Neolithic period or Neolithic phase was considered very important stage of the history of human culture when humans were no longer dependent entirely on nature as previously we saw like in Mesolithic period or Paleolithic period. Okay, so here people were no longer dependent entirely. Obviously, they were dependent on nature, but not entirely dependent on nature. Why it is so? Because as previously we saw. So why this happens? In this period people were no longer dependent entirely on the nature, because here they started exploiting nature for their own advantages. As I had told you in earlier video that people in the phase of Mesolithic period and Paleolithic period, they were worshipping the nature like rainfall, drought, in the hope that in return they will get protected. But here we saw the people start exploiting the nature for their own advantages. Hence, here people were no longer entirely dependent on nature. Okay, now coming to next point. So here they tamed some animals too for cultivation, we can say. Okay, Neolithic phase is also known as food producing phase. Okay, here people started producing food crops, they started doing agriculture. So next point, here we see from nomads, the people becomes settled villagers. Now what they do here, they start clearing forest areas and till the soil for what? For agricultural purposes. Okay, now next, this culture, okay, Neolithic, I am writing it in short form, Neolithic culture were mainly pastoral and farming culture. Okay, but one thing we have to note it down: Neolithic culture were pastoral and farming culture, but the without what? But without the knowledge of metal implements. Okay, as today in present scenario we are using metal equipments for agricultural purposes, but at that time Neolithic phase they were pastoral and farming culture, but without the knowledge of metal implements. Okay. Now next point, they used polished stone tools. Okay, what they use? They use stone tools, they use lithic tools instead of metal equipments. Okay, and domesticate animals. Now here they began to effectively modify, control and manage the natural resources for their benefits. Okay, they also start practicing selective breeding of what? Of plants and animals. Okay, now here we often heard a term which is Neolithic revolution. Okay, so try to understand this term Neolithic revolution. Neolithic revolution is nothing but it's the agro-pastoral cultural development of the early Holocene era known as Neolithic revolution. Okay, you can say the agro-pastoral. Agro means agriculture and pasture means cultivating area for pastoral system like grazing purposes. Okay, agro-pastoral cultural development of the early Holocene were labeled as what? Neolithic revolution. Okay. Now here what we see, the transition to agriculture was largely due to what? Due to a combination of factors. And what are these factors? The first one is change in the nature of humans in this phase, and second one is changes took place in environmental situation. Okay, now we will talk about the social organization regarding Neolithic phase. So here people began to live in sedimentary and sedentary, okay, and semi sedentary settlements. Okay, also they perhaps had tribe level social organization. Okay, again here idea of land and plant domestication, or we can say here idea of land and plant ownership emerged. And why it is so? Because here people, as they start domesticating the plants and animals. Okay, hence this concept, the idea of land and plant ownership emerged in the Neolithic phase. Okay, now you also see some, we can say, presence of small houses that points out about that may suggest the nuclear family at that time. Okay, now next point, here we have also some evidences when people had demarcated certain territories okay. Also we have that they used to bury dead remains. Okay, the dead were buried within the houses, and sometimes animals too. Okay, and from these burials we can conclude, or we can say these were suggesting certain rituals that they at the time uses, and the worship of what? Worship of dead. Okay, so these were some crux point regarding the social organization prevailing at the time of Neolithic phase. So in this video, that's all. Thank you. We will meet in next video, and then we will discuss about the Harappan civilization, the Indus Valley civilization. Okay, so thank you.